Warning, this video may contain images that are not suitable for people that are a little bit OCD when it comes to bezel alignment, so you have been warned. Well, I put my Christmas tree up. It took 6 hours, but I had a little help from old Whiny McWineglass here. Yep, that's right. This wine's got good legs. Yeah, looking good. But I think the tree came out pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. And I do say it because I just said it. So I've got ornaments on there from all the way back as early as 1980, 40 years ago. And a couple of them that are pretty neat animatronic things on there. Got some Star Trek stuff. Can't show anything copyrighted. I gotta be a little bit careful in that regard, but hey, oh, there's a little raccoon with some bells, and oh, it's the Grinch's dog, Max. Yeah, Max, I think that's his name. And there's an elf ornament that's been running since 1986. I don't know what they're building. I still haven't figured it out, but man, they're still running, looking good. But the tree, I think it came out amazing. It's a fake tree. You got to put on every branch by yourself. So cheers to you, tree. I think you look absolutely fantastic. All right, guys, welcome to this episode of Watch Me Go Broke. On my wrist today is going to be the Seagull 1963. I did a review of this probably a couple of months ago, and I said I had trouble connecting with it, but then I put it on this stainless steel bracelet, which I think really added a lot to the watch. I haven't seen too many folks put one on a bracelet. In fact, I don't think I've seen anybody do it. So, yep, I just got one of these cheapo bracelets off of Amazon, and I think it really added a lot to the watch, and now I'm a big fan. And here is the watch. This is the legendary Omega Seamaster 300m, reference number 253180. This is the James Bond watch, the watch that Pierce Brosnan wore in all of his James Bond movies, except for GoldenEye. That was the same watch, but a quartz version of this particular model. He wore this from Tomorrow Never Dies all the way through the worst James Bond movie ever, in my opinion, Die Another Day. So I want this video to be very interactive. There's some things about this watch that obviously, if you're OCD, you're going to have some serious issues with a couple of things on this particular watch. But I want this video to be interactive because I need your help, guys. I need some advice on some things that I need to get corrected on this watch, where to do it, how to do it, what materials I need to use, and just everything to get this thing back to its former glory. So even though this watch has been reviewed to death by many, many thousands of YouTube reviewers, I think it's almost a rite of passage that you have to do a review of this particular watch. So let's just get the specs out of the way. This is a 41mm case. It is a thickness of 12mm, a lug-to-lug on my measurements of 46.5mm, 20mm lug width. No taper at all down to the clasp. It stays 20, and all stainless steel case. It's got a 120 click unidirectional bezel. That is pretty much impossible to turn with these white gloves, so I will save you that little excursion there. But as you'll notice, the bezel does not align properly with that 12 o'clock pip there. And that is not something that the seller really hid from me. That was some work that I probably should have done myself. I just didn't notice it. It was in the photos before I purchased it. But you know, everything on it is authentic to the original parts. I don't really have a service record or anything on this. It did come with box and papers, so I felt pretty good about that. The seller did have many other models that were perfectly aligned, and I was just dumb and did not see that glaring issue there. So it is an aluminum bezel insert, as was the time period. It does have a date window at 3 o'clock in that beautiful beautiful wave dial that we've all come to know and love about this watch. Now, my obsession, obviously, with this watch started when I watched GoldenEye. I thought that was just an outstanding movie, and this watch was just so cool. You know, it had lasers. Subsequently, in other films, it had like a grappling hook, things you could you push this button up here and it sets off landmines. So, you know, as a kid, when you see that kind of stuff, that just like blows your mind of coolness. So this was something that I really felt, man, this was my grail watch. And to be able to pick it up last year, I was super excited until I got it. So the movement in this watch is Omega's caliber 1120 with a 44-hour power reserve. It is a workhorse and a great movement that Omega put out. So that dial, gosh, just gorgeous. It is the raised wave dial. I really wish Omega would. I know they went back to it in their current models, but it's like laser etched. I don't know. It just doesn't really have the cool flair that this one does. Those very recognizable Omega hands that are just iconic at this point. This version is from 1999, so you'll notice that the red second hand, the tip of it has faded to orange, and that's something that Omega does correct when you send it in for a service. So the case back, just one of the legendary case backs, one of the best of all time. That, what is it? Gosh, what is it? A hippocampus, I believe, is what that little monster there is called. But really neat history of the ocean there. It looks really, really fantastic. And the clasp, a milled clasp, wonderful etching of the Omega logo, Seamaster Professional. Double pushers to open it up, proper milled clasp, really good. And it does have a diver's extension. If I can pop that out, there you go. Wonderful close-ups I'm doing today. And another thing about this watch, the bracelet, that 5-link bracelet that really is not copying anything else. It's just one of Omega's great inventions that they did. It's a wonderful bracelet, really comfortable. It is pin and collar, so I did actually take it to the Omega boutique where I am located, and they did size it up for me. But they did say that it was stretched, and it was something that they could trade the bracelet out with a newer model if I ever got it serviced. But I really don't want to trade the bracelet. I mean, I want this watch in its original form, you know, as close as I can get it. So let's talk about the issue that I have with the bezel. It is offline, as you can see. It doesn't line up. When I took it to the Omega boutique, I was thinking, well, maybe if they just pop it off, put it back on, something, maybe there's the click rings messed up or something. They did do that for me, and they replaced the click ring free of charge, but they couldn't get it aligned back up. And they actually told me that they felt like this watch had taken an impact, and they could actually see where the impact was. They didn't really go into detail about, they didn't show me, but he said, you know, that was the case. And he also described the bezel as quote-unquote wonky, which was surprising to hear somebody from Omega say that. And they said they could correct it with a service, that would be part of the service, but that was about a year ago, and I've heard rumors that that's not the case anymore, that the replacement of the bezel is actually an extra charge. And as you guys know, I think Omega's current service price is $550 to send the watch off for about 3 months or so, and I didn't want to be you know, away from the watch that long. So basically that's what I'm needing your help on, guys, is I would like to have this bezel replaced with another one. I can source a bezel, but I'd like to know maybe a place. Well, it's no secret that I'm based out of Texas. So let's just say if there's somewhere that you know in the Houston area where somebody would be willing to replace the bezel for me, you can leave that in the comments, or of course send me an email at watchmegobroke@gmail.com. That's something that I'd really love. So another issue that I have with this watch is the crown, and this is something I need your guys' help in the comments. So when I undo it, it's just about 1.5 turns before it pops out, and I don't think that's right. That seems like maybe it could be stripped or something along those lines. And when you wind it, if you notice, if you can see, the crown actually rebounds back a little bit. So that might lead me to believe that this movement probably needs a service. So I'm looking for an area where I can get a service done. Maybe that second hand changed out and the bezel changed out, and that would really make this watch what I wanted originally. So it is a cautionary tale. I mean, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you review all photos and everything like that, that the watches come with box and papers, and that the sellers are very reputable. And the seller that I got it from was reputable, but you know, they didn't remind me that there were issues with the watch. So then when I'm screwing it back down, you know, it's just about like, you know, 1.5 turns, maybe 2 turns, and it screws down. So let me know in the comments, guys, if that's how yours is, or I do have a problem with this particular crown. So at the 10 o'clock position, it has a helium escape valve. So I guess if you're going to go down to 300 meters, which this watch is 300 meters of water resistance, but I doubt it with that crown the way it is, you may need to release helium when you're going on the way up. But if I'm going down 300 meters with this particular watch, I'll probably be releasing a lot more than just helium. So the watch is just absolutely iconic. You know, it's recognizable. Lots of people have them. I think it just looks absolutely fantastic, really, in any light. Omega did mention to me that the crystal may have been replaced, so I'm assuming this was dropped and the crystal shattered and the bezel got messed up, and the guy just took it somewhere to have it you know, put back together. But you'll even notice that the bezel insert is sort of raised up a little bit above the glass, so that is not how it is usually on this particular model. So yeah, I mean, it needs a lot of work with the bezel. But I am open to donations, so if you have one lying around that you had serviced and you have your old bezel that doesn't look too bad, I certainly would take it off your hands if that's something you'd like to help me out with. But I can source it if that's not an option. So here it is out in the real world on my 7.25-inch wrist, maybe expanded a little bit. I'm not sure. You know, this whole last 6 months, I think everybody's been putting on a little weight, but as you can see, I mean, it's really gorgeous, really iconic. It's something you can wear with a suit, wear with, you know, you can dress it up, you can dress it down. It's just really one of the more perfect watches that's out there. And I was saving this review for when the James Bond movie No Time to Die came out, and I don't know when that's ever coming out. So I just figured, well, I don't want to wait. I want to get this review out there, and yeah, just really great. So let's take a look at the lume here. There we go. I believe the lume is Swiss Superluminova, if I'm not mistaken, but this model's from 1999, and it is still glowing very brightly. It's really good. It holds up with the watches today that I have in brightness. So still great on the lume. It has started to patina just ever so slightly, but yeah, it's great. Glows like a torch. Just wonderful. So other than the Rolex Submariner, I can't really think of a cooler watch that's out there now. And I just really want this thing brought back to its original glory. You know, it's running about -8 seconds a day, which I think may be just outside of COSC certification, because this was a certified chronometer when it was released. But probably in need of a little bit of a service, but just a wonderful, iconic watch. And you know, I hope I did it justice. I know this review was more about you guys maybe helping me out about how I need to get this thing fixed up. So yep,
I guess that's it for me today, guys. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time.